Prague Beer Museum, 30 pressions, uniquement tchèques et beaucoup de craft beer, donc on n'a pas que de la lager ici, on va retrouver des IPA, des brown ale blondet, quelques nouvelles lagers mais faites par des petits producteurs, donc vraiment super place pour découvrir la bière artisanale tchèque.
You're welcome.
Cheers.
Welcome.
Thank you for welcoming us in Prague.
Thank you for coming down. Glad you like it.
How long have you been here?
I got here 15 years ago. Came for 5 days and just couldn't leave.
You're from San Francisco, you told me before?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I still have my bags packed. I still swear I'm going to leave any day,
yeah?
but I just don't.
So we are at Prague Beer Museum today, and
Prague Beer Museum. Prague Beer Museum.
Yeah, Prague Beer Museum.
Craft beer.
It's not Prague Beer, it's Prague Beer Museum. Prague Beer Museum. So it's 2 of these?
Yeah, we have 2 right now. 2 right now and 2 more coming.
That's a really nice place to try some nice craft beer Czech.
Only Czech. We sell
and you've seen a really
only Czech beers. Yeah.
So you said when everything started? When everything started here?
Like I said, I got here 15 years ago, and in the United States, the craft beer scene had already taken off. That I was already very stable and growing and growing and growing, and everybody knew that this is going to be around for a while. And it was because the United States never had a history of beer. Terrible beer, horrible beer. And then when the craft beer scene started, all of a sudden everybody was like, "Whoa, what is this? This is amazing!" So coming here, obviously Czech Republic has hundreds of years of history of making beautiful beers, but they make lagers. They make Pilsner and lagers. And they make very, very good.
Really good ones.
Really good ones. But that's it. They don't play with they don't mess with it. So about 8 years ago, when I saw that a couple of brewers were starting to make IPAs out here. A couple of local Czech guys were starting to make IPAs. And some of the first ones were Martin Matuška and Hansa about 8 years ago.
8 years ago, yeah.
And Hansa over at Kotsur. And really, really good IPAs. I was like, oh, finally! Like, this reminded me of home.
You can find a lot of IPA
I can finally. This is 8 years ago. So when we opened this thing, we were the first one in the country, and I think we might still be the only one in the country that has 30 on tap, and we only sell on tap. You can do some bottles for takeaway, but we'll fill them up off the tap, and we only sell Czech beer from small breweries and on tap. All unpasteurized, all blah blah blah, normal.
So you believe in the craft, in the local market.
Absolutely. And when I saw that the locals were starting to finally, that the wave had come over here, and they're starting to do experimental beers and different styles of beers, not experimental so much, but different styles of beers, not just lagers. I was like, finally, it's coming, and it's only going to get bigger. And it has. It's just gotten, like I said, we opened our second one, now we're opening 2 more. And the Czechs got off to a little bit of a slower start, I think, than the rest of Europe, making different styles of beers because they have such a history of beer here.
Tradition.
It's part of the culture. And the elders were like, no, this is how you make beer, and you don't mess with it.
Don't touch to my lager.
Exactly. And the new kids that were growing up, learning how to brew out here, they're like, no, I want to make IPA, I want to make this, I want to make that. And when I saw that, and there's also, the Czechs had been very set in their price as beer. A beer costs €1, and that's what it costs. And when I saw that and it costs more money to make for a small brewery. You can't make it for that shit.
Oh, no.
So when the small guys started up and started making homemade lagers and these homemade IPAs, the price would double. And okay, the tourists will pay that because it's still very, very cheap. But the Czechs won't. And when I saw the Czechs starting to pay double the price for good quality beers instead of just the big industrial beers, that's when I knew this is gonna. When the Czechs start buying it, now we got a game. Here we go.
We are to the point where it's gonna explode.
Absolutely, and it has over the last 8 years.
More bar now. after you? 2010 here? 2010?
We opened in 2010, and now there's several bars, multi-tap bars now, because it's working. And there's going to be more and more and more. The market will not be oversaturated for years to come. There's plenty of room for everybody. There's plenty of room for brewers. There's plenty of room for bar owners. It's just going to expand. It'll cap out like other countries have and like the United States have. And as we were talking earlier, before we were just sitting around, it will get more and more competitive, which is fine. It's a natural thing.
So for our beer friends, I'd like to your vision as an expert, which craft breweries you have to try if you come in Prague? What's the guys that you should not avoid?
I think Lucky Bastard, these two young kids out of Brno that are just knocking the doors down. They're killing it.
Oh yeah.
Obviously Matushka. Matushka was the first one that came in and said, no, I'm going to make IPAs, my prices will double everybody, and it worked. And so hats off to him. He broke the glass ceiling in this country.
He broke the glass.
He will always be the god
for
this country. So absolutely Matushka, Kotsur for sure.
Kotsur.
The guy that started Kotsur, he left them and started another brewery called Nomad, which you have to try. It's a little more experimental beers.
It's in Prague, right?
No, he's outside of Prague, but he does a little bit more smaller batches and a little bit more experimental, a little more fun. As I said, and Unyatica for lagers.
Oh yeah.
Beautiful. Absolutely. Unyatica for sure. Husband and wife team that used to work for one of the big breweries that I won't mention the name, but when the big brewery got bought up by one of the big international conglomerates, they changed the recipes. They only worry about the money. And the brewer said, I didn't go to school for this. This isn't beer. So he left, and him and his wife started their own brewery, and it's
beautiful.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah, beautiful story.
Yeah.
So
to conclude with that, do you know how many breweries we have in Czech Republic now? What's the growth? Many craft breweries do you count?
There's about 250 that we count. Unofficially, they say around 400, but officially there's like 250 that are on the books, paying their taxes and doing that.
Yeah.
And they say that there's about, I think it's like 10 a week that are opening up right now. Of those 10, they're counting, I think, home brewing as well. But so commercial brewing, you're probably getting a new brewery, one new commercial brewery a week right now.
A week.
It's.
And what's the proportion? How many craft breweries have?
Hectoliter wise, you mean, or styles?
If you count, I don't know, craft brewing, small production, small brewers who's making
anything
IPA, and if you count the traditional ones, what's the proportion of the small one? Do you think that
I'd say
when you say 250, it's just the small ones, or it's also
small ones? Small ones. Small ones. Not counting the big.
Oh, it's just the small ones.
Small ones.
And the total is
probably around 300.
300 and 250
is the smaller ones. Yeah, because for many years you had like 5 players in the game.
Yeah,
that was it. And they had 5 breweries. They each made 3 kinds of beers, and that's what the whole country sold. In the regions, they had their little small brewery, but the big guys kind of just took all the regions over. Like I said, about 8 years ago, that started changing, and people started going when the big conglomerates started buying up the big breweries here. The Czechs felt like, well, they're not even Czech breweries anymore. So they started supporting the regional breweries again instead of the big boys.
How do you call craft in Czech?
Craft.
They say craft?
Yeah.
No, but is the translation in the word? No, I was wondering. Just like that.
That's craft. It's the craft.
They say craft.
That's a universal word, I think, at this point.
No, but in French we say artisanal, which means that it's made artisanal, we say that. Here they don't use a specific word, craft,
There's no boil in that word that you're looking for.
Okay,
So, but it's turned into, it went back to regional brewing again, and that's what opened the doors to exactly. So that opened the doors to a lot more competition, because, like I said, price point, you can't compete with the big guys. There's no way you can't do it. But when the locals started supporting the regional brewers again, the prices, they accepted a higher price rate, and so they gave the opportunity for normal guys to start brewing.
This is exciting what's going on.
It is. It's really, really nice. And like I said, there's not, because of the tradition of how they make beer here for years and years, there's not a whole lot of experimental beers out here. They're still pretty safe when it comes to, you know, IPA. There's only a couple brewers that are doing even double IPAs. It's still pretty conservative. Yeah. But the quality is fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
So
that's the motto.
Yeah. So and for me, I'm a little bit more of a. I don't need apricots and pumpkins in my beer. I really don't. It's like, I'll try one, you know.
So you think the way Czech are drinking a lot of beer? I mean, yesterday we had I don't know how many Pilsner Urquell, and you can have so many more, and you don't feeling too drunk, and it's sessionable. And
right.
So do you think it's influencing the way craft brewers are making their beer as well?
I think all the Czech beers.
To USA,
I think all the Czech beers are considered session beers.
Yeah.
They're the IBUs for the ales are coming in around 70s, 80s, so it's well balanced. You're still tasting the barley, you're tasting the yeast. It's not hoppy like in the States. So they like their beer balanced here, and so that's why I think you don't see a whole lot of experimentation going on and a whole lot of different styles. It's pretty, and I love that about it. It's the drinkability level is very high.
So yeah, if Czech Republic has a specificity in craft beer comparative to America,
drinkability.
They are really good in their session beer.
Hands down.
Yeah.
Hands down. It's good quality and beautiful.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jose.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks for coming.